In segment 3 of Dr. Lamb's piece, we're going to consider entrances. The entrances occur on the offbeat, and that can pose several problems for the singer. Where do you breathe, and where do you negotiate the consonants so you can keep everything moving in tempo? If you look at page 11 and at measure 109 going to 110, we have some real specific problems. Dr. Lamb asks that we broaden, that is, slow the tempo somewhat at the top of the page, and as we go to measure 110, we have to make sure we redefine the new tempo, quarter note equals 112, and give the sopranos a chance to breathe accurately, and as I mentioned earlier, negotiate the consonants in the proper tempo. Tenors, of course, come in that same measure on beat 4, but you have the same problem with the altos at measure 111, as well as the basses on the and of 3 at that same measure. We also have the problem occurring at measure 113, where the choir enters on the and of 1 on in excelsis. And if you turn the page to the final section of this work, the basses at 115 must come in on the and of 1 with accent, the altos on the and of 3, and the next measure, the tenors on the and of 1. Again, how do we handle that? Probably the easiest thing for you to do is use the gesture of syncopation. Now, the gesture of syncopation can serve a couple of functions. Number 1, absolute clarity. The gesture itself is a quick move to the downbeat in this case, and you stop it. Now, by doing that, the students know exactly when to breathe, and importantly, how to breathe to help them negotiate the consonants at the right time. So it would be like glow and glow. On beat 3, you would have the same thing. Glow. The key to the gesture of syncopation is making sure that it stops. Now let's go to the final measure. An interesting notation here in the score. That's measure 121. You'll notice that in the 2-4 measure we have an 8th rest followed by a dotted quarter note with a fermata. I would suggest, rather than conducting a strong downbeat, 1, and then giving another downbeat to make sure that that dotted quarter note is accented and held, that you use another quick reflex gesture, which would look like this. And I'll start at measure 120. And 1, de, o. So once again, you're defining, that's where you breathe, and your wrist flick going up will show the students exactly where to put that voiced D and sustain the O. And just as a side gesture, the university singers, as they perform this, are going to change the pronunciation from de, a, the open O, as we would normally do, to give it just a little bit more focus and power. We're going to use a closed O at the end. So now we'd like to demonstrate this for you.